Habitat of Chlorophyta. Hello friends, I am Antika. In this video, I will be discussing about the various habitats of Chlorophyta. Now Chlorophycota, or sometimes it is also called Crassinophite. These are green algae, thalloid in structure, eukaryotic in nature, and they are present mostly in aquatic environment. These chlorophytes, they contain both chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, beta carotenoids, xanthophyll. So it produces its own food by photosynthesis. That is, it is autotrophic in nutrition. The stored food material in Chlorophyta is starch, unlike Cyanophyta where it is mixophycean starch. Now this chlorophyte is eukaryotic in nature in contrast to the prokaryotic nature of cyanophyte. This chlorophyte, some of the chlorophyte, they have a unique feature of having flagellated cell. Earlier, I have made video on cyanophyte where we can see that all the cyanophytes, they do not have any flagellated cells in any stage of their life. But here in chlorophyte, both vegetative as well as reproductive stage, they have flagellations. Not all the chlorophytes have flagellations during their normal period, but during the reproductive stage, they do have flagellations. Before I start the habitat of chlorophytes, there is a quiz for you all. Chlorophytes are present in, there are 4 options, and if you know the answer, you can write it in the comment section. Now these all the 4 options, they are habitats in different zone of water, and if you don't know the answer, I will be discussing it in the end of the quiz. So let's start the video. Aquatic or hydrophilous. Hydrophilous or aquatic habitat can be divided into 2 categories: freshwater and marine. The freshwater can also be divided into either planktonic, euplanktonic, and trichoplanktonic or benthic, depending upon the position of algae in the water column. If it is present floating in the water column, it is called planktonic, and if it is floating on the surface, it is planktonic. If it is floating just below the surface, it is euplanktonic. Planktonic species are Chlorella, Chlamydomonas, Synestesmos, Volvox, Eudorina, Microcystis, Oscillatoria, and Spirogyra. These are planktonic species that is floating on the surface of water. Those euplanktonic species are those which are floating just below the surface of water, and they might include Chlamydomonas and Volvox. Trichoplanktophytes are those that are found attached to any surface during the early stage of their life. When they are mature, they are detached, they become free floating. These species of algae are Oedogonium, Cladophora, Sargassum, Nostoc, and Zygnema. So these are trichoplanktophytes, which are attached only the early stage of their life, and there are also algae that are present permanently attached to the bottom of the sediment. They are called benthophytes. They include Chara, Bodonella, Batrachospermum, Pleutrocladia, Nigella, and Cladophora. I should be telling that these benthic forms, though they are present at the bottom of the substratum, but these all the algae, they are present only where the light intensity is maximum. We cannot find algae in low intensity light because these algae, they are photosynthetic in nature, so they won't be surviving in low light intensity atmosphere, because then there will be not enough light for photosynthesis. So from this information we can easily say that algae are not present, those benthic forms are not present in deep water habitats. Benthic form will be present only in shallow water and or temporary pools, like this type of habitat. Now, according to the speed of water flow, this freshwater habitat of algae can also be divided into still water, slow moving, running water, or um, uh, uh, this aquatic algae along the shoreline. Now, the still water algae are Volvox, Hydrodictyon, Chlamydomonas, Zygnema, and Udogonium. Moving water algae are Cladophora, Udogonium, Bulotrix. Running water algae present in running water are Vaucheria and Cladophora. Those algae that are found along the shoreline, they are called apactiphytes or apactic algae. The apactiphytes are Udogonium and Spirogyra. Those aquatic algae that are found in the marine, they are called hydrophilous marine algae. They are either planktonic, benthic, or attached to the shoreline. The planktonic forms are Chlamydomonas, Cytotella, Trichodesmium. Here we see this is the Chlamydomonas, the planktonic marine algae. Chlamydomonas also can be present in fresh water also. Then is the benthic form of marine or hydrophilous aquatic algae. These benthic forms include Acetabularia in the picture, Caularpa, Chondrus ectocarpus, Fucus, Laminaria, Geletium, Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Sargassum, and Ulva. Those marine algae that are attached to any rock or shoreline, rock of the shoreline, that is present in very shallow water depth along the shoreline, are Ulvalis, Tasmanite, Siphonalis. Here this is the picture of Ulvalis, the ulva algae. Okay. Now the benthic form, that is benthic form of algae present in marine environment, they are also not found in the great depths of ocean. They are mostly found along the just the border of the continental shelf. At much greater depth, we do not get any aquatic marine algae. The terrestrial algae are called edapophytes. Among terrestrial algae, those growing on the surface of soil are called epiterranean or saprophytes. They include algae like Botridium, Vaucheria, Frischella, Nostoc, Chlorella, Udogonium, Prociola. And cryptophytic algae, they are found on the top layer of the soil. Algae that prefer acidic soil are Frischella, and those preferring alkaline soil is Oscillatoria. Here in example, we see the saprophyte, that is algae growing on the top of the soil is Botryddium, and this is the Frischella that is growing in the acidic soil, and this is Oscillatoria growing in the alkaline soil. Now, lithophyte or lithophilic algae that is growing on the soil are Ectocarpus in picture, Polysiphonia, Cytonema, Trentophylla, and Tasmanite. Now, algae can also be found to be growing symbiotically along with fungi in the lichen. In lichen, fungi and algae together form a symbiotic association, and the green algae, though lichen has green algae as a photobiont, but it also have blue-green algae in sometimes as another photobiont. So I have made many videos regarding lichen. I will be providing the links of those videos in the description box. Now, symbiotic green algae in lichen are Trebouxia in the picture, Chlorococcus, Microcystis, Chlorella, and Cyclonema. Algae that are found in symbiotic relation are also Trentophylla. Symbiotic relation of algae can also be found with protozoa, sponges, especially marine sponges, and Cnidaria. This I'll be discussing when I'll be discussing the zoo endophytic algae. Epiphytic algae are those that are living either on the surface of plant, that is surface of plant, or surface of the bark of tree. Epiphyllophyte or epiphyte can be, for example, Trentophylla that grows on the surface of the leaf, Rhodocytium that grows again on the surface of the leaves, Calothrix, Coleochaeta, Nyctalium, and Colochaeta. These are algae that are grown on the leaf. There can be also algae that are growing on the surface of other algae, such as Nitellaria and Cara. They host a number of other species like Oedogonium, Phyllosiphon, Eulothrix, Coleochaeta, and Nitellarium. Here, among all these species, Oedogonium do not remain attached with either Cara or Nitella permanently, but as Oedogonium matures, it usually becomes free floating. So algae can also be found to be growing on the on the bark of shaded trees in the high humid areas. The algae that grow on the bark surface are Protococcus, Pleurococcus, and Trentophylla. Here, this is the example where we can see that algae, they're growing on the surface of leaves. Algae can also be found growing inside other animals. They are called epizoic algae, epizoophytes, or endophytic or endobiont algae. Now, these endobiotic algae, there are many, like Colacium vesiticolum. They colonizes on cladocerans such as Daphnia, on copepods such as Mesocyclops, and ciliates such as aquatic invertebrate. The algae Basicladia clinorum, it is found to be growing on the shells of turtle and diatom. Carassium growing on the surface of amphibian egg. And Caraci diploides Elisodia, they are found to be growing on other zooplanktons. And this diatoms, which is another form of algae, green algae, they are found to be growing on the surface of copepods and also inside the mosquito fish Gambusa aphelis. Another algae, Arnoldiella, found to be growing on the shells of turtle and snail, and Zooxanthilla is another algae that is found to be growing on the freshwater sponges. Carassium grows on the body of insect larva. Cladophora grows on the body of snail. Trichophilus, this algae grows on the scale and hair of sloths. So these we see all these algae, they are found to be growing on or inside the body of animals. The algae can also be found to be growing parasitically on other plants or hemiparasitically on other plants. These parasitic algae, they actually cause much damage to the plant and also decreases the yield. And this type of parasitic algae, they are very common in the temperate and subtropical region. The parasitic algae, common parasitic algae are Cephalourus virescens, that causes red rust of tea. Cephalourus coffea again causes red rust of coffee. Cephalourus coffea also is found to be growing on tea and grapes. Cephalourus parasitica also Cephalourus virescens also grows on the leaf of lychee and magnolia, holly, rhododendron, and a lot of other leaf of other plants. And Harvelia mirabilis, it is usually found growing semi-parasitically on other plants. Rhodochytrium and Polysiphonia lanosa, they are found to be growing on Ascophyllum. This Ascophyllum is an algae. So we see that the algae, they are found to be nutritionally dependent on other plants also. And this type of parasitic algae, they cause tremendous loss of yield and also a reduction in the health of the plant. How? They usually grow on the surface of leaves, and these algae, they what they cause is that they totally damage the leaf, causing defoliation, dieback, and necrosis, and loss of marketability of the fruits. And this type of parasitic algae, they can be dealt with, or they can be reduced from parasitizing the plant by either use of fungicides or urea or along with potash. These are generally found in cold climates, and it can be naturally reduced by reducing the humidity of the atmosphere, because we know that algae, they prefer humid atmosphere. So by reducing the humidity, we can reduce the this parasitic algae. Endozoic algae, they are found to be growing inside, for example, Zoochlorella growing inside Hydra, Carassium. This is the example of Zoochlorella that is found growing on the Hydra. Then is the Carassium that is growing inside the antenna of mosquito. This is the Carassium, and then Chlorella, that is found to be growing beneath the scales of fish. This is the example of Chlorella. Temperature dependent habitat. Now algae can be found to be growing in very high and as well as very low temperature also. So algae that is found to be growing in very low temperature are called cryophyte thermophobic algae, and they are found either in the permanent snowfields, permanent or temporarily. And these examples is due the growth of this algae causes coloring of the snow. Coloring of the snow is due to the pigment of the algae that is growing on it. Chlamydomonas nivalis, this Chlamydomonas nivalis in picture, it is the causing the, it is also called watermelon snow. Then we have Hydras foetidus that is found to be growing on the mountain streams, that is frozen, and Chloromonas tasmanite and Cyclostoma cylindrocystis Trochescilla Hematococcus, also called the red snow, Rhaphidonemma causing the green coloration of snow, Scotiella causing again the red coloration, Nostoc and Eulothrix is responsible for yellow color of snow. Note that Nostoc is not a green algae, it's just a cyanobacteria, and Ancyclostema nordenskii oiled, they causes the brown coloration of snow. Temporary snowfields or temporary ice can also harbor algae such as Cleocapsa, Formadium and Tribausia. Algae that are found to be growing in hot water springs, that is which are having a temperature of 55 degrees C or more, are Chlorella, Oscillatoria brevis and Masticoclonium and Formadium. Algae that prefer high salinity condition are Chlamydomonas cronbergii, that is in the picture, Dunaliella salina, this is Dunaliella salina, and Fritzschiella. These are the examples of halophilic or halophyte algae. Then algae that are growing in the water, they, if the nutrient condition increases, they we can see an increased amount of algae in that water body. This sudden increase in water algal intensity of algal population, it is called bloom. And the chief algae that are responsible for the bloom are Microcystis, Chlamydomonas, Chlorella, Canis desmos, and Cladophora glomeruta, Codium, and Cowler. Note that algal bloom, though unlike cyanobloom, algal bloom do not have toxins. But algal bloom, the main defect of main disadvantage of having an algal bloom is that this algal bloom, when alga blooms in any water body, they reduce the light penetration of the water body. And once there is reduction in light penetration of the water body, this algae will in turn reduce the chance of survivability of those photosynthesizing plants or algae that are present either in the water column or that are benthic. So algal bloom not only after they die, this algal bloom, the matter dies, they decompose, and in the decomposition process, bacteria consumes a lot of oxygen. So not only in algal bloom, not only the water oxygen level is reduced, that in turn kills all the fishes and other invertebrates or vertebrate aquatic organisms, but also it directly affects the photosynthetic activity. It reduces the photosynthetic activity. So there are many disadvantages of this bloom. Number one is it reduces the photosynthetic photosynthetic activity of all the submerged or benthic foam, so thereby reducing the plant diversity. Also, this bloom reduces the oxygen level in long course of time, which in turn reduces the animal diversity of any water body. So algal bloom has been seen over a lot of years, as there is with the increase of population and increase of industrialization or increase in use of fertilizers, the water body becomes eutrophied, that is nutrient in the water body increases, and more there is frequency of this algal bloom. But this algal bloom does not produces any toxin. Toxin is mostly produced by the cyanobloom, that is bloom caused by cyanobacteria. I have made many videos regarding cyanobacteria. All the link of the link of the those cyanobacterial videos, I have been putting it in the description box. So this is all about algal bloom. Next is the grease. We all know that this chlorophytes or blue or the green algae, they are present where there is maximum light intensity. So which are the areas where we find this maximum light intensity? The answer will be all of the below four, because deep chlorophyll maximum zone, or the subsurface chlorophyll maximum zone, euphotic zone or epipelagic zone, they are almost the same thing. Deep chlorophyll maximum zone is the subsurface chlorophyll maximum zone, that is the zone just beneath the surface of water. Deep chlorophyll maximum zone or subsurface chlorophyll maximum zone is a zone of water that contains maximum intensity of chlorophyll, that is present just below the surface of water. This deep chlorophyll maximum zone is due to the plankton and the subsurface floating algae, that is that this zone, it is in the this can also be epipelagic or euphotic zone, because this is the zone that receives maximum sunlight. So as they have maximum sunlight, they have maximum intensity of green algae living in them. So chlorophytes, though present in all habitat, and they are generally present in the deep chlorophyll maximum zone, synonymous with subsurface chlorophyll maximum zone, which is again synonymous with euphotic or epipelagic zone. So this is all about the habitats of chlorophytes, and I'll be making other videos regarding the chlorophytes, the life cycles of these chlorophytes in the upcoming videos. So I will also be making a general video on the reproductive system and the structure of the chlorophytes. And regarding this video, if you want me to discuss anything more in detail, you can write it in the comment section. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, please share it with your friends, and you can subscribe the video to get the updates of the latest video I make. Thank you.